welcome back to another Mom Chat Mondays. I know it's been a while, but I've been a little bit busy. My YouTube fam doesn't know this yet, but if you follow me on Instagram, then you already know that I am with a child. I am pregnant again. Here's a little bump date for you. I am currently 6 months pregnant. Sorry. Literally, this pregnancy has been speeding by, so I am sorry. I am just now telling you all. But today's video is going to be all about how my pregnancy is going so far and a recap of my first trimester and what is different this pregnancy compared to my pregnancy with Declan. So without further ado, let's get started. So my first trimester was hell, and it was hell because I was so nauseous. I think I threw up every single day for 12 weeks straight. It's the most nauseous I have ever been. I wasn't this nauseous when I was pregnant with Declan at all, actually. I think I threw up maybe one time when I was pregnant with Declan. I was a little nauseous, but I had more like food aversions rather than nausea. The sight of certain foods were like trigger me to be nauseous, but overall I was fine. This time, like literally, I was living in the bathroom hugging that toilet for 12 weeks. It was horrible. Let me just read you what I put in my pregnancy notes. So week 5, a little bit of nausea, needing to pee a lot. Week 6, made it to 6 weeks with no bleeding. I'll get back to that. Super nauseous, needs to pee a lot. Also, what I thought was a never-ending cold is actually pregnancy rhinitis. So at this time, this was, I want to say December, and Declan was still in daycare at that time, and he was getting sick every single time we'd pick him up. The next day into the weekend, he would be sick, which would get us sick. So I had a never-ending cold. And if you look at some of my videos on Instagram, when you hear my voiceover, you can hear like I'm stuffed up, and I was stuffed up for the longest time. So I thought it was just from Declan, but turns out it was a combination of Declan and pregnancy rhinitis. I was just making my sinuses like swell up. It was a horrible time. Back to the bleeding. When I was pregnant with Declan, I had a lot of spotting and I would bleed a lot, and it was very worrisome. One day I'll tell you guys the whole story of Declan's pregnancy from beginning to end and how just traumatic it was for me. But one of the signs of what ended up being an issue with Declan's pregnancy was my constant spotting that the doctors pretty much didn't think was an issue. But now that I've gone through this pregnancy without spotting at all, I know that's not a normal thing to have happen. So I was just so relieved that I had not been spotting at all, and I was finally having a normal pregnancy. And when you've gone through miscarriage like we have, when you start spotting, even if it's nothing serious, it just like puts your heart in your throat. Like it makes you feel so worried. So I was just happy not to have that this time around. Week 10, that's when the TMI alert, constipation came in, which is just as bad as the nausea in my book. And I started to have black splotches and peeling around my mouth. Now that happened with my pregnancy with Declan as well. So I kind of wasn't shocked to see it. I was almost expecting it, and this time I knew what to do to kind of prevent it. Like I lathered up my like mouth area to keep it moisturized. Oh my goodness. It's like, these aren't the symptoms that they tell you about when they're talking about pregnancy. These are like random ass symptoms that no one ever mentions that I seem to get all the time. You know what? I'm gonna do a full video of random pregnancy symptoms that I had that no one ever talked about, that is never mentioned in any of the pregnancy symptoms books or Google, until you know what to look for, until you know what to search for. Then all of a sudden you find your people. And this is actually in the second trimester, but around week 15, I started to have the worst coccyx pain. Like my tailbone was on fire. And so before this, I had taken my son to the zoo for his 2nd birthday, and we had walked for maybe 5 miles. I was exhausted, and I think something, either my pelvis wasn't aligned or I was walking funny, but it was putting such a strain on my lower back that I was like bedridden for a week. Like I couldn't like turn. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I couldn't sit down because it would put pressure on my tailbone. I couldn't like turn abruptly. I couldn't stand up abruptly. It was a horrible time. And then one morning I woke up and it was gone. As I mentioned, I had worse nausea this time around. Last time I had food aversion. I couldn't smell cooked food. It would make me so sick. I could only eat raw veggies and fruit. I ate so much fruit throughout my whole pregnancy. It's probably why Declan loves fruit. No matter how much his picky eating goes on, he will always eat fruit, which I'm so thankful for. So maybe that has something to do with it, but who knows? This time around, after the nausea went away, when I got into my second trimester, I could pretty much eat anything. Nothing triggers my nausea. The funny part about the food differences is that with the Declan, I gained about 2 pounds a week for the entire pregnancy. So for a 4-week pregnancy, does that make sense? No. I gained 2 pounds a week for about the first 20 weeks, and then I gained 1 pound. Anyway, whatever the math is, by the time I gave birth, I had gained 53 pounds, which is crazy because I had only eaten fruit and raw veggies pretty much the entire pregnancy, but it was a lot of water weight. When I left the hospital, I was so swollen, like my feet, I think I've showed you guys this before, my feet were swollen, like my whole body was swollen. And so maybe a week after I left the hospital, I was down 25 pounds already. So it just shows you how much moisture your body retains during pregnancy. So for those of you who are so self-conscious about how much weight you're gaining, or you step on the scale every day, just keep that in mind that it's not all weight. Like, your body is retaining a lot of moisture, a lot of added blood flow, milk in your titties, a bunch of stuff. So your body knows what it's doing and what it needs to do to take care of your baby. So don't get too hung up on the number on the scale. This time around, I am eating pretty much anything I want. And by the time I hit 20 weeks, I had maybe gained 12 pounds, which is like night and day from last time. At 20 weeks last time, I was like maybe 30, 40 pounds heavier. So I don't know what's going on. But the biggest physical change so far is the amount of energy I have. I have so much energy this pregnancy. Last pregnancy, I was wore out. I was napping. I think every day I had to take a nap. I would find like a window in between the day to take a nap in between work. This time around, I don't know if having a toddler kind of tricks your mind into thinking that you have this imaginary energy. I don't know, but it's working because I'll be working, chasing after him, doing his activities, making dinner. By the end of the night, I'm tired, but I had enough energy to get through the day. Whereas last time, by 3 o'clock, I was done. Which is also crazy because I was on bed rest for a lot of that pregnancy, so I don't know. It was just taking a lot out of me, that pregnancy. So even though I wasn't moving, I was exhausted. I can eat anything, but right now I'm really craving ketchup. And not just like ketchup alone, like I'm not crazy, but like really crispy fries or really crispy tater tots dipped in ketchup. Ooh, that is my jam right now. Ketchup, crispy fries, and then ice cream or something really cold like a slushie, or an ice cream with a slushie like a gelati from Rita's. Ooh, Brody gets me that so many times a week. Pretty much this pregnancy is what I had always imagined being pregnant was like. I would always see other women and they always say, don't compare your pregnancy to other women. And it's very true. Like, don't compare your pregnancy, don't compare your kids, don't compare to other people, because you don't know what they're going through. But I'd always thought like pregnancy would be this magical, great thing. But if you had asked me after I gave birth to my son if I liked being pregnant, pregnancy was like the worst experience. But this time around, like, I'm actually enjoying it for the times that I remember I'm pregnant. Like, I have been forgetting that I'm pregnant. Brody has to keep track of my weeks. Like, every Sunday, he'd be like, oh, you're such and such weeks. Oh, you're now this many months. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked because how is time going by so quickly? This pregnancy is speeding on by, and I'm trying to slow down mentally and really kind of soak it in and appreciate it. We want 3 kids, but who cares what you want? It's what your body can handle, what your mind can handle, what the finances can handle. So who knows if this is my last pregnancy. I don't want it to be, but if it is, that's perfectly fine too. But for that reason, I want to soak it in and really experience the joys and everything that's coming with it and not have it speed on by. And then tomorrow I go give birth and I'm like, what just happened? So if you want to continue to follow on our pregnancy journey, make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you're always up to date with new videos that get posted, either for Mom Chat Mondays or our regular vlogs or anything in between. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on another video. Bye.